On today's episode, we'll be chatting about a finished object, my shawlography progress, as well as more socks. Hey everyone, I'm Marina and this is Pineapple Knits. This is my channel dedicated to knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can connect with me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. I think it's been 2 weeks since I last joined you, and it has been a crazy 2 weeks. Obviously, if I haven't recorded, it's been really crazy. But I'm so excited to be back and be seeing all my new viewers, returning viewers. You're all welcome here, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. So as you can tell, I finally finished my Molly sweater. This was a great sweater project, but I had to set it aside for a while because of a mistake I made, totally my fault. But this is a wonderful pattern from Julie Weisenberger of Cocoknits, and it's just a really kind of simple sweater. It's top down, and I knit it, and I don't know if you're even going to be able to see, but it ends right at my high hip. So my waist is about here, ends at my high hip exactly how I wanted it. And I knit this out of my yarn, Pineapple Yarn, in the colorway Glowworm, and it's on my Lani DK base, which is a superwash merino and nylon blend. I love this base. It's very, very soft. And I'm wearing it with a tank top underneath right now. I probably will wear it with a long sleeve shirt in the winter, and it's just, but next to skin, it's very, very soft. So what do I say about this pattern? I mean, it was my first Cocoknits pattern, and if you aren't familiar with that technique, it's a different technique. It's a unique, kind of a special technique to construct sweaters so they fit really, really well. It's not just in the round, it's not raglan. It actually has a lot of shoulder shaping, and it doesn't include any seaming though. So it's kind of a really cool blend of the ease of a in the round sweater, top down in the round sweater, but it has great shoulder shaping. So I was eager to try this out. I actually purchased the Sweater Workshop book, I think nearly a year ago, and I just didn't have the patience, the willpower to learn a new technique. And so recently, well, a couple of months ago at this point, I picked it up and decided to knit this sweater. I love this color. I mean, this color is just, it's beautiful. It's a neon green, and I really like it. So I dyed up a sweater quantity for myself and went to town. So the Molly sweater starts by kind of casting on. You add on to it. It ends up kind of in a U shape, so it's kind of like almost strips on the shoulders, and then you do short row shaping in the back, and then you join all that together to make this rounded neckline. And then from there, it's actually a very straightforward, simple sweater. There is shaping in the body of the sweater, and I really liked, overall, I liked the sweater construction. It was very simple. I do like, right here on the sleeves, I like that there's no ribbing. I like that it's not tight. Of course, you could do this with any sweater, but it just kind of has this rolled hem, and I really like that. So the only ribbing is on the neckline and then as well as the hem. So things I would change about this, I did shorten the pattern because I'm short. So the sweater itself calls for I think a worsted weight. I used a DK weight and then just sized up a size while going, I think I stayed the same needle size as in the pattern. And that worked out great. The fit on this is perfect. I mean, this is a sweater I will reach for again and again. I may knit it again down the line just because the fit is incredible. It really is. And it's a very, very comfortable sweater. So I'm really enjoying it. I think I've worn it once, but to be honest, here in South Carolina, it is way too hot to be wearing sweaters. I think today, I'm roasting right now, and I think today's supposed to be in the 80s, so it's just not it's not going to happen. But I will reach for it when it does become consistently cooler, because it's a great sweater. And the only thing that I would change about this sweater, and this is so minor, and this is personal preference, I didn't like, I think there were some decreases in the pattern I didn't care for, which is a simple fix. You can do whatever decrease you want, but I did want to try out the decreases that Julie recommends in the pattern, so I did. I just didn't think they were as, I thought they were a little fiddly, maybe because they were new, and I thought that they didn't look as good as a decrease that I would normally do. I think it was decreases, I don't think it was increases. Obviously, I can't remember. It was up here though, and I don't even know. I think it's right around here. I can tell it just doesn't look flawless. It could look better. So it's very minor though. This is a great sweater, great pattern, and I'm excited to try more of her patterns in the future. I think they are really interesting, great fit, and yeah, so overall, really good experience. So this is what I was really working on, was this sweater, and just really trying to finish it and not have it languish. I forgot to mention the reason I had to set it aside is because after I finished the ribbing with a smaller needle on the bottom, I then proceeded to pick up the sleeves and knit nearly an entire sleeve with the smaller needle. And I think I sized down I think it was 2 needle sizes. So I was knitting along and I was just not really paying attention. And I kept thinking, wow, these stitches just it looks tighter. This fabric looks denser, but I just kept knitting and I just kept knitting. And I know from personal experience, because I've done this before, where I'm like, but I just want to get it done. I want to get the sleeve done. Instead of just stopping, checking, trying it on. I've done this before. And so it just causes more heartache in the future by not stopping and slowing down. In my personal experience, I've done this before. So I had to rip out an entire sleeve, and which was fine. I mean, I've always found that if the second sleeve is always faster because you know what to expect. And so it ended up being fine, but it was frustrating. So I'm finally done with it. And recently I know I shared with you a huge sock snake that I had knit up, and I knit another one. I don't think I've shown this one to you, so I am going to pull it out of my bag here. It's really quite massive, and I've already taken some off. So let me go ahead and share this with you. So this is the sock snake that I have intact, and I'm actually sitting next to my sock machine today. Where I normally record is completely full of advent calendar yarn boxes, so I can't even sit in there. So I'm glad I have this little space to record. But this is the sock snake that I have right now. It is massive. It's so huge. But I kind of like having this so I can just work on some mindless knitting. To me, I've done this so many times, this really is mindless. But here I have several of my colorways that I knit up. This one right here is Tangerine green, and I really love how this knit up. And actually I have, yes, I do have some of this. So this is what it looks like in the skein. It is very bright, and I love this contrast of this kind of neon coral, neon cantaloupe with this beautiful blue-green teal color. And then it has an accent of kind of a warm caramel. So I really love all those together. Of course, speckles, I love speckles. So, so that is Tangerine green. And this is what it looks like knit up. And if you're interested in sock machine knitting or anything like that, I have some other videos on my channel, and I'm still trying to edit another one, but I'm not going to go through a lot of details today with all this because I have before, especially I think my last episode, I go into more detail about this. But this is Tangerine green. This is the way it knits up. And I think it's really cool. I hope you can see it well, but I will finish these and take photos of them. So keep an eye out for that. And I will, once they're finished, I'll show them on this channel as well. This one is called Shell Collection. This was one of my new colorways. And as you can tell, it turned into like a really cool subtle stripe. And I don't think I have any in the shop right now. Oh, I do have some. So this is Shell Collection, and it's just a beautiful lavender, aqua, and then kind of a terracotta color with some speckles. That's a really pretty one. And so I knit it up, and I just love how in this sock you can really see all of these sand colored speckles, and that's what I really wanted it to look like, sand, to be reminiscent of the beach. So so yeah, I think that one turned out really pretty. And then moving on from that, and I love the way this one turned out. This is Beachcombing, and this was another newer colorway, and I think it turned out so pretty. It has, and I do have some, I'm always surprised, I do have some in the shop. So this is Beachcombing, and it in the skein, and it has beautiful, oh, there's so many colors in here, just this vibrant kind of orchid color, bright green, and then several different colors of pink, and then speckles as well. This is a really, I just love this colorway so much. And so I knit it into socks, and I really like the way I dyed this because it doesn't end up striping. So some of them I love doing kind of a, I guess it's kind of a faux self-striping. But this turned out to just be little pops of color here and there. All of the colors are very well blended, and this is just, it's very, very pretty. So these three are still all in this long sock. And this is actually this is called a cast-on bonnet. This is what you hook to all of the hooks when to get started. So the other pieces, oh my goodness, this bag is very full. I knit quite a bit of a sock skein or a sock snake because I'm working through my stash and trying to use some of the beautiful yarns I have. But this one is the 2020 Advent skein from KirbyWirby, and I don't know why I save these, and I don't know why. It's ridiculous, but oh, look how beautiful this is. So what I did, you'll see these big chunks of yellow. This is not part of the skein itself. This is my waste yarn. And so what I did, this colorway came in 2 matching skeins, or cakes, I guess. No, they were skeins. And so what I did is I split them up so I could make multiple pairs of socks, just for my children or for whomever. I mean, so this would be one sock right here. And what I'll do is I'll add heels, toes, and cuffs. But isn't that beautiful? I think that's so pretty. And then this was the next, is this the next one? No, this is the matching pair. So these two actually are matching. And then this is another one. This is a little bit shorter, which is fine. These actually will end up being a great size, even though they look really short. Once I put cuffs and heels and toes in, it really will be, it'll be a good size. So these, I think these are just so pretty. And then I did take one off because I am currently working on it, if I can get it out of my bag here. I had a skein of neon coral, or coral conch. It is definitely neon coral, but I call it coral conch. It's a tonal in my shop, and something had happened to it. I can't remember, but it was I wasn't going to sell it in the shop, so I kept it for myself because it's perfectly knittable. It's a great colorway. And I am currently just taking a very short piece of this sock snake, and I knit a cuff on it. As you can see, this is just a, I did a 2x2 rib, and I probably shouldn't have because this is 60 stitches around, and the math on that doesn't work, but it's okay. I do this every time. I love 2x2 rib, but then I do 60 stitches around, and I always end up with like 4. I basically have to skip a purl, 2 purl stitches. I've done that for years, and I never catch it when I do it, and I never rip it out. So that's that. But these are very tiny, as you can see, and these are going to be for one of my littles who still have very little feet. So this is great. I am knitting at the very end here. What I did is I added a stripe of neon coral, or coral conch. So as you can see, this is a really pretty neon pink that was here, and then the neon coral, and then I think at this point I did 4 rounds of that, and then I'm going to go into the toe. So that'll be that. One other thing that actually would be really cute with these is you could do leg warmers, which would be so cute. I know my kids just love layers, and my girls love things like that. So anyway, that is what I'm working on right now. And every time I work on them, it's when my children aren't either they're, doing an activity, so I'm knitting, they're in bed, so I'm knitting. So I never think of it when they're awake and we're doing things, or they're just right there where they can try it on. But I need to measure. I think my youngest daughter, these would fit her really cute. And so we'll see. We'll see how these turn out. I think they're so sweet though. So that's coming along, and yeah, these will be super cute. So that is what I've been doing there. And I have that other sock. It's just this right here on my sock snake. And that's quite a bit. I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine. I just don't think I have the patience for self-striping yarn to dye self-striping yarn, but look at that. I mean, that is so many different colors and stripes, and it always is mind-blowing to me, self-striping yarn. Even though I dye yarn, maybe I appreciate it more because I know what goes into dyeing, and it's quite involved, and the self-striping yarn is just, it's very admirable for sure. It's such a craft. So those are the socks that I'm working on, and I will just continue to do those here and there, just to pick up and have some mindless knitting. But right now, the bulk of my knitting time is going to the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along, the Shawlography Mystery Knit Along. And so if you don't want to see Clue 1, go ahead and skip forward. And I'm going to go ahead and show this. I just finished Clue 1. Today's Friday, so he just released Clue 2. And so here it is. And as you can see, there's all these colors in there. These are really cool V stitches in here, along with these I-cord loops. It's already, I always say this with his, oh shoot, I dropped some stitches. I always say this with his mystery knit alongs, is they're always just so interesting and different, and this is, no exception, really. It's no exception. It's been very interesting. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I dropped all these stitches. This is a really short needle, and I've kind of run out of room. These actually were the same needles that I knit my Emma Top number 2 on. So these are Chowgu needles. They're size 3. I did size down from what the pattern recommends. And I do have a longer needle that I figured out. I said, why do I have such a long size 3 needle? And I realized when I was knitting my Emma top number 2, I had to purchase this shorter size 3 because it was just ridiculous, the long needle I was using. But I realized it's always for my fingering weight shawls. They use a size 3, and they're usually Steve & West shawls. So I'll pull that out here when I start Clue 2. But this is the cast on edge right here. You just make this little half circle, and then it kind of just goes from there. All of these are short row wedges, these German short rows, which I was super excited about. I love German short rows. They're just definitely my short row method of choice. And let me go ahead and show you, because this is a kit from my shop. I think I have 2 left of the other colorway called Surfboard, and I do have 2 left in the shop in case you're interested in any 5 skein kit. But this is the yarn I chose for color B. So let me go in order here. The instructions he gave in the pattern, he recommended using like your favorite color or a color pop for color A. So I chose pink because I love pink. So that's what I chose for color A. Color B, he said you want a framing color, so like your darkest color, your lightest color, something that would just be a really good contrast against all of the other colors. So I chose this color. This is just a really pretty kind of deep plum color. And then let's see, I ended up using this beautiful like icy mint color for C. And then I believe I used, let me look and see what I wrote down. I think this is D, this really pretty neutral pale gray. That's what I used for D. And then E is this beautiful kind of butter yellow color. So I felt like more of any other mystery knit along he's put out, that this is the most interchangeable pattern yet. And what I mean by that is normally he's very specific about you have to have, you know, a dark for this color, you have to have, you know, a light for this color. I felt like it wasn't like that this year. So yes, so I just used these as my 3 middle colors because I like the way they look together. And now as far as like your color pop, what, you know, the color that you like the best, I guess, you could use any of these. And it was just a very interesting, because he was so, he was very less specific with the colors this year than I felt like of any other year. So you can kind of see all my colors in this basket. That's what they look like together. So far, I really like it. I am a fan of just going where the pattern leads. So I kind of feel like with this color, 5-color group, I guess, this kit, I do think that the plum is the best framing color, but there's no reason that you couldn't, let's say if you wanted to make this beautiful neon pink, what if you wanted to make that color B and have that your framing color? I don't think it really matters, because what's going to happen is everything's just going to be a more subtle contrast, and I think that's okay. And then your plum would just be one of the other colors. Maybe you want it your color pop, and so you could use this plum where the neon pink is, and I think that would end up just being really beautiful, and it would be nice. But I do like, because this is in the fall, I do like having just one darker color, maybe like an autumn type color, just because I feel like it fits in a little more with the fall colors. And this isn't, you know, this is kind of generalizing, but I feel like, you know, you're kind of maybe wearing darker clothing, maybe wearing more black or navy, and it just fits in a little more. It kind of gives you more versatility with your shawl, in my opinion. As you can tell, the sun is really coming out. It is about, let's see what time it is. It is about 8:30 right now, so the sun is coming out and getting brighter here in the studio. But it's a really beautiful day. It's, like I said, it's probably going to be in the 80s today. So we've had just some really beautiful mornings. Not quite cool enough to open windows and get air in, just because it's very, very humid. So, you know, in the evenings and overnight, we may have some temperature drop, but we don't get, at least right now, it's still very humid, so we don't have the nice, cool, dry breezes coming through the house by any means. But yeah, so I had mentioned that it has been a crazy 2 weeks. Basically, my life is just a little crazy anyway, because I think with 5 children, that's just the way it's going to be. And you kind of have to brace yourself for a little bit of craziness. I think anytime you have children, you're going to have a little bit of craziness. With 5, it's just, you know, what level of crazy do you want to be at? So, of course, everything's multiplied. Crazy, but then also fun. So, definitely not complaining about that. It's just, I think you have to give yourself a little bit of understanding that there's going to be some crazy times. So, so the kids have been really busy with school and with activities. And so juggling all that, and then also with work, with pineapple yarn, it's just a lot. And it's great, and I love it. But, you know, it kind of ebbs and flows. And right now we're definitely at a very busy time. But on top of that, we unfortunately all had a stomach bug this past week, and really knocked us on our feet, or off our feet. And yeah, so having a stomach bug go through 7 people in the family, I don't really need to explain that. I think y'all know it was rough. But we're all doing much, much better now. I mean, the good thing is it's short-lived, and you know, just we're all doing much, much better. And so that's why I really haven't been on Instagram. I haven't recorded any lately, just because I've kind of been recovering from that. Not really in my body so much. I mean, that was kind of a quick recovery, but then just household-wise, just getting back into the swing of things takes a minute. So thanks for your patience that I haven't recorded. Really haven't been on Instagram, but hopefully we'll get back in the swing of things here very soon. And other than that, I've been working very hard on your advent calendars. It's been great, and they're really coming along. Here in the next several weeks, I will be shipping them out. So that's really exciting. And this has been in the making for so long. So I am overjoyed for y'all to see them and be able to craft with them. It'll be really, really fun. So one thing I'm going to do this month, I know I've scaled back my my updates, and I've explained to you why, just because of Advents, and I want to make sure to get those out. I am not going to have an update this month, and instead what I'm going to do next week, and I'll be sending out a newsletter about this, is I have a lot of yarn that I'm either going to be discontinuing the colorway, discontinuing the base. I may have like 1 or 2 skeins of. Some I will have larger quantities of. But I have basically a lot of yarn in this small studio that I would love to send to a new home. So I will be having a sale in my shop next week, and I will send out a newsletter for that. It'll probably start Thursday or Friday. I'll announce it on Instagram. Again, my newsletter, I will probably give a different code in my newsletter just so y'all get a day ahead for all my subscribers. That's what I normally do with a sale. Normally I have my sales around like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that weekend, but I think I'm going to do it early this year just so you can make sure to get it in time for the holidays. You can get it for your holiday crafting. Christmas time is, the shipping I think is going to be a little crazy this year. I know last year it was, and I can only imagine this year is going to be the same. So if you are interested in that, keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I think it'll be really, really fun. It's going to free up space for me, which is, I need it very much here in the studio. I am very full right now, and which is great, but I do need a certain amount of space for dyeing and for packing, and I'm sure you can imagine. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'm really excited to put that together and yeah, and get that out to you. Other than that, that is about it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this episode, I'd love if you give it a thumbs up, and I will, fingers crossed, see you next week with another episode. Hopefully I have no more bumps in the road. Everything continues to go smoothly from here on out. But I hope you're enjoying your crafting and having a lovely October, and I will see you next time. Bye.